Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today it's another trying to fix video. We're going to be trying to fix this Xbox One gamepad here. Now, this is one of the original ones from the Xbox One, and as you can see at this moment it's completely dead when we're using the Xbox battery pack. Yet when I plug batteries in or USB it does work, but then the face buttons here do not work. So if you look now, you can see that's synced up there. I can move my way around screen here, but then if I want to go into something, none of these buttons work. Also, they don't quite, I don't know if they feel right either. I feel like there's a little bit kind of, I might be imagining, they feel like it's a little bit hard to press, but that could be just me imagining it. Now they definitely feel harder than that one there, and also, yeah, they don't feel as loose. So we're going to take this apart and see if we can find out what's wrong with it. When I put batteries into it, it does work as well. So it's not really that big a deal that the Xbox battery pack doesn't work, but if I can fix it at the same time, then I will look into it. But I don't think I'm going to spend hours on that part. The main part is the fact that these buttons here are not working. So I got this Xbox One controller from Mike from One Up Gaming. He sent over a box of broken stuff. So let's take this apart and we'll see if we can fix it. Okay, so let's get this thing apart. To begin with, we just have to take off the covers here. So sometimes you can do this with your nail, if not, just use a bit of a pry tool. It feels like you're going to break it, but they do seem to be very strong. And there's screws here, 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 and also underneath the sticker at the back here. So now this has been apart before, and Mike from One Up Gaming said that that he thinks it was the X button that wasn't working or something. So he put the Xbox button here. He put a new membrane on it, and then when he put it back together, it didn't work at all. Well, when it's coming to me, it is working. It's just that those buttons are not working. So it might be an easy one. I'm not sure. I'm just using a T9, which is like a Torx. And it's a security Torx. It's got a little hole in the middle of it. Now, I've done quite a few Xbox controllers now because I've got a job lot of them that were all really hard fixes, but it made them really interesting. They took hours and hours to fix, but when eventually I got them working, it felt like quite an achievement. So if you want to see them ones, just check out my other videos. Oh, I didn't notice. This isn't an original one. It's got a headphone jack. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Do you know what? I haven't got any of these ones. The ones that I have with the headphone jack are from the, the Bluetooth ones onwards. So this is the ones just before the Bluetooth. That's interesting. So that comes off in one unit up the top here. Right, normally you have a couple of screws holding this bit in, but they're missing. That comes out now. And now I'm just going to undo these screws here and here. And there's a few more down there to get this board out and see what's happening. T6 on the inside. See what's happening underneath here now. Well, that looks okay. Can't see anything wrong with that. Right, so if this was replaced, the whole thing would have been replaced. I wonder whether it's just not been lined up properly. Okay, so we got that. Now also, why is it not working with the little charging thing? So the charging thing is on here, this board here. I wonder why that's not working. Right, well what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the little laptop set up, and then we can test the inputs using that rather than connecting up to the Xbox. So I can just kind of put this on here and press the buttons and see if they do anything. Okay, this is the app that I'm going to be using, Game Controller Tester. So I'm just going to connect it up to this, just use a USB to begin with, and then we can see if the buttons are working. Right, that's interesting. Now, if you have a look here, the B is on the backboard and all the others are on the front board. And if you have a look at this one here, it's going to be hard to see, but just zoom right in. Watch this. When I press the B, you can see it's lighting up here. The red goes to like a beige, but on the other ones it's not working. That's working. Is the Xbox button working? Do you know what? I'm only going to be able to tell that because it will bring up with the game thing on screen. But they're definitely not working, which is unusual. Let me just see what else is working. Yeah, look, the game bar, so the Xbox button is working. Bumpers are working. Triggers are working. And the analog sticks are working. So everything's working apart. Let me just check vibration. Yeah, I can see all them spinning round. So look at the triggers spinning, and also that spinning, that, and also the trigger one up here. So everything's working apart from these three, which is, this is unusual because on my other ones I've done quite a few and I haven't had that issue before. So now let's take it apart again and have a close look, see what could be wrong. So the B's definitely working, so the backboard is okay, but this front board is not okay. So let's have another look at this closely, but I wonder could that be related to those battery contacts as well for this thing. Put this away for the time being and just have a real close look at this. Right, so I suppose the first thing to check is to make sure that the actual carbon pads here are shorting out, because these have to short the two separate parts of each button here. So you can see top and bottom, they have to short in between them. So I've got it on continuity. Let's just see if they're reading anything. Right, okay, they're not giving a direct short, but if you look at the multimeter, you can see that it is reading something. So they all seem to be reading around about, well, that's about 83 ohms. Oh look, the closer you are, the smaller the reading. Well, look at that, so I don't get a reading at all there. Do you know what? I thought naively that they would have just been a complete short. There you go, 50, 56. 63, 54, let's go a bit further away. Yeah, okay. So the closer I put them together, they are giving me a different reading. So that says to me that they are working. As well as that, I know 100% that this button here works. And yeah, when I go on here, it's also giving me an ohm reading. So yeah, I don't think it's anything to do with that. So now we have to look closely at this. And if we look, I can see that the battery contact here is going off to this track at the top here, and then it looks like it works its way down to that one. This one is connected via this track here, isn't it, is going down. So they should all be in common with each other. So let's just double check that they are actually in common with each other. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it's not the common, there's no issue with the common, but yet none of them are being recognised as button presses, but yet there's no problem with that side of them. So that's all good. Okay, nothing's jumping out at me straight away. I mean, I haven't gone through everything yet, but they're definitely all in connection with each other. So there is a chance that it might not be that this board's faulty, although the contacts are in this board. If they're going through via one of these two to get to the chips on this board, then I might be fault finding this board when it's absolutely fine. So the good news is I have got quite a few spares when it comes to the Xbox controllers. So this one looks to be the same board. I don't know if this is a working one or not, because I've got just a job lot of just broken up stuff. But if you look at the model numbers down here, they're both the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one in here to see if it's having the same fault. If it works, then we know 100% the fault's on this board. If it doesn't work, the chances are the fault's on the backboard here. I could be unlucky and have both of these with exactly the same fault, but that would be unlikely. So we've got exactly the same fault as before, so it means it's not that board that's faulty. It's actually the backboard. Okay, so most people would be fault finding the front one because that's where the buttons are, but look, that one still works and these ones are still not working. These work. So that says to me there's something on the front board that's causing that. So quite possibly that this board here is okay and there's an issue with the other board. So let's take it apart now and have a look at the other board and see if anything is obvious on that one. So I'm just going to give this a visual inspection using my little eye loop here, see if I can see anything wrong with any of the tracks, traces, or if any of the components look burnt out or anything like that. Okay, I've had a really good look on that circuit board through this eye loop and I can't see any scrapes, I can't see any burning damage or anything like that. Yes, one of the chips or something might have failed, but I can't see, there's nothing obviously wrong with it. Now I'm going back to the original write-up that I've got here, and it says here, so this is what Mike sent me when he sent through the box. Xbox pad. X, I think, wasn't working. Took apart to replace the rubber membrane, which is this, you know, this thing here with the little carbon button things on it. Now nothing works. Now, this doesn't look like, it doesn't look original. Do you know what I mean? If you look at that one there, look at this one here. So this is from an original one. And if you just have a look at the moulding, so let's say, for example, if you put them next to each other, to begin with, can you see each of the carbon ones on this has a kind of crisscross pattern and they don't on here? But it's not just that, but look at the rubber moulding all around here. It all looks to have nice lines on it and stuff, and this doesn't. Also, we've got a kind of like bit here which looks like it should be rolled over a little bit. Now remember at the very beginning I said that it doesn't feel right when I press the buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it with this to see if these feel right, because to begin with when I pressed those buttons they didn't feel as if they didn't feel smooth when they were going down. It felt like there was resistance on them. So let's pop the thing in, because maybe the original one did have a fault with the X membrane part here, and then Mike might have bought this, might have bought an aftermarket one from eBay or something, and then afterwards for it not to work at all. I mean, it is working for me, but those buttons are not working. So let's pop this back in. Now let's have a feel. Yeah, right, I'm not imagining that. That now feels normal. Now, I don't know if it's going to show on the camera. Right, let's compare that now to this one. No, listen. Can you hear? That's got that sort of click noise, but this one, it hasn't. It feels like it's not making a good connect. Actually, to be fair, the Y does feel okay, but the X and A feel like it's not making a good connection. Right, I'm going to try the other. I'm going to try this one just to see. Let's see if it works now. No, oh, hold on. A's now working, Y's working, but X is still not working. So why is X not working? Wow. Okay, so some of them are working now. So it is the membrane, but why doesn't the X work? Maybe I haven't got it in right. Hold on. Right, let's see this now. So which one wasn't working? It was this one here. Looks okay. Let's try it again. No, so that's not working. How weird is that? So now I've got more working, but there's still one that's not working. So, that's really strange. Y works? Get rid of that. Okay, we're making progress. We've got 2 more buttons working, but the X still doesn't work. So, let me take it apart and let me see if there's any dirt or anything in that part of the membrane, unless this membrane is faulty as well, but I think that would be unlikely. So let's take it apart again. Right, I've just ever so slightly wet it just to make sure it's not a bad contact, and I'm just going to do the same on this bit here. No, okay, so clean that hasn't worked. It's still not coming up, still not showing anything on here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swap the front plate again, just in case it is a problem with the front plate. Also, I might see if I've got another one of these to try. You know, it's just weird how there was 2 not working on this, and now on that one, 1's not working. So I'm going to swap that over. I'm going to quickly try it now without the actual buttons, just using my fingers on it. Even with my fingers on it, it's not making a difference. So now I'm just going to try a different part of it on there. So I'm just swapping one of the other buttons over to it. Right, and it's still not working. So it's definitely a problem with the actual board side of it. So I'm going to take this one out and I'm going to try the different board again. No, okay, so on this different front board it's still not working. So when I press that button there, you can see that the blue button up here is not doing anything. Yep, so I'm pressing this repeatedly here. Right, I'm just going to swap over to a different part of the rubber membrane again. Again, it's not doing anything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a different back plate, just in case the back plate is playing up. Right, so I've got another back plate here, so I'm going to be putting the suspected faulty front plate on this back plate, and let's see what happens now. Yes, that's working now. Excellent. Right, okay, so it's something to do with the back plate. It's so hard to get both of them in view at the same time. Let me pull this up to here. Right, so hold on, there we go. Right, so watch this now. When I press this one here, you can see that all of the buttons are working. So the top one, 1 second. Right, ready? Top, bottom, that one, and this one, yeah, that one, this one, so they're all working. So there's definitely an issue with this bottom plate here, which is stopping that input from working. Wow, so it's not, that's interesting. You know what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try this aftermarket membrane on it and see if it's, we'll see what's happening. Oh my god, it works. How weird is that? So it's something to do with resistance then, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't feel as nice, but it's definitely working. Look. Isn't that strange? What a weird fault. Look at that. See? The green one, but I have to press it quite hard. The yellow one's going. Blue's going. And red's going. Yeah, they're all going. Wow, so it's not registering on this one, on my one. Okay, what I'm going to know, we're on my one now, aren't I? So it's something to do with the back plate here is not properly registering the inputs from some of this one here and then one on this one here. Now why is that? I need to work out what it is on here that's actually recognising those inputs. Right, this is going to be quite an awkward one, I think, isn't it? Yeah. I wonder if I was to get tweezers and go across here, would that be, you know, like putting a dead short on rather than using this? Because remember when we put this on it before, it was just like a measurement in ohms, but it wasn't a dead short. I wonder if we put a dead short on, would it burn something out? Would it still work? Because it'd be interesting if we put a dead short on the blue button here. Would you know, what would happen with it? I think I'm going to risk it. Right, so let's just try it here on this one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely registering. So we'll try that now with the you know, the complete faulty controller, because when I go across here now, if you have a look with my tweezers, there, can you see? Okay, let me do it on the red one because you can't really see properly on that one. Right, it's not the best program for actually filming. It's fine with my own eyes, but it's kind of hard to see on the camera. Okay, so let's unplug that. I'm going to put my board back onto here, and let's put a dead short on it and see if that fixes it. So the reason I'm thinking it's resistance is because by changing this out, I suddenly got 2 more buttons working. So I think that this is just somehow very sensitive, while the other one must work on a wider range. Right, so that's there now. Let's plug this one in. Right, that's interesting. Now I'm on the cheap one, and it is registering inputs on these 2 here. Yeah, look, but still not the blue. Right, so now it is. It's like kicked in and working now. See the bottom one there? And also the yellow one? The red one always worked. But still nothing on the blue. So now I'm just going to try a dead short with the tweezers on the blue. Let's see what happens. No, so nothing's happening. I'm scraping that now like that, and nothing's happening at all. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to follow the wire down from here, see where it goes to, and then try to follow it onto the other board, because we definitely know it's not a fault with this board, but I need to trace the wires from here and see where they come up on here, and then it might give me a better idea of what's happening. So I'll get back to this once I've traced them. Okay, so I've been tracing down this one here, and basically it goes from here. So we know that the top's okay because that's in contact with the others, but the bottom one goes along here, and then it goes off to this middle pin here, which comes up on this one here, and then works its way down to the 3rd pin along here. So I've been concentrating my search around there. The only thing is, what happens is from the 3rd pin from here, it basically goes under here, and then I lose it. From memory, this is for the wireless part of it, I think, when I did it before. So what I've done is I put my meter on continuity, put it there, and then I went across all these test points hoping that it would come up somewhere, but it didn't. So then I went onto the other board that works okay, and I did exactly the same from the 3rd pin from the top, went along all the test points, and it still didn't come up. So it doesn't say to me that it's a broken trace on that. But when I was looking really closely there, I did find an issue with another one of the pins, and maybe somehow it's linked. So let me show you that. Right, so I have been looking at the 3rd pin along here, and it goes through this little via, and then I lose it. But looking at this one, I thought, does it look a little bit scraped here at the top? And then when I was looking, I had a look at this one here, and basically, look at this pin here. Can you see it's actually broken from this top? Well, I think it's broken from this top. There you go, you can see it moving from this top bit here. So what I did is, hold on, I've visibly seen it moving before. 1 second. There you go, can you see it moving from there? that top bit there. So what I've done is I've just scraped this here because I need to run a new wire anyway, and to see if I had continuity between here, and I don't. So I'm not saying that this is the fault. Maybe this is irrelevant. Maybe this one here isn't used, but it's still not right. I mean, if this was on the third pin, I'd say 100% it is it. But look, so if I go between here and here, the broken bit, I probably will have continuity. Yeah, but now I should also have continuity where I've scraped away here and I haven't. Yeah. So if I scrape here, I probably will have continuity. Hold on. Remember, I'm going to be running the new wire here anyway, so it doesn't matter that I'm scraping. Right, let's see if I've got anything now. Yeah, I have, you see, but not here. Yeah. So basically, I need to run a little wire from here to here. I'm hoping that wire and stuff's okay. I think that's what I'm going to do first. And then, if it isn't that, well, I haven't really lost anything, but that definitely isn't right, is it? It's there for a reason, and maybe somehow this goes through the board to something else and then comes back via this. I really don't know, but that's not right, and I wasn't the one to do that, because when I looked at it, I thought something didn't look right. In fact, you can see this bit here was exposed, this little bit here, where it goes from like the fat trace to the thin trace. That bit there is where it's broken. So let me deal with that, and then we'll see if that's going to fix it or not. Do you know what? I don't know whether I think it's just when I touch the wire. I don't actually know if that's connected or not. I'll tell you what we do, rather than mess around with that, because I don't really want to scrape the wire too much, I'm just going to put it back together and actually see if it's going to work on my laptop. Okay, so here we go. Right, that's that one. Let's go to old. Go into test mode. No, still not working. See, normally I can put my probes into the wire and it will work, but with this one, it's not. Let me zoom right in again. I wonder, has that stuck or not? See, I'd say that's stuck, because when I bent it there, I don't think that's just the flux making it stick. I would say that has made a connection. Let me rub the whole thing down with this. So I've scraped it right back this time, so let's try to add more solder to it, and I'm just going to do it again because I wasn't overly happy with how it went last time. Right, okay, I'm getting short now between here, and that's past the wire. So that should have now made the connection. So you can see now it's nice and clean. So let me just show you with the meter. So I'm going to go in pin 1 here, and the top of the wire stops around about here, I think. I think it broke off from here, but if I go to here, can you still see it's making a connection here? So now let's put it back together and see if that has worked. I'm confident now that that is connected, so if it still doesn't work, we know that that's got nothing to do with it. No, still not working, so it's got nothing to do with that one. Oh, unbelievable. I don't really know where to go from here now. If you have a look there, I'm going to be pressing the others, and you can see that they're changing. The red one changes, yellow changes, but look at the blue. Nothing on the blue. Right, okay, I think the next port of call is going to be, we know that this one's definitely working okay, so let's measure different things on here compared to here and see if I can find maybe a faulty capacitor or a little transistor or something like that, or maybe one of the chips is going to show up something. At least I've got a working one to test with. Yes, of course I can just swap this in here and then it will be working, but it would be nice to actually fix the circuit board rather than just replacing the board. So yeah, I'll be doing most of that off camera because it's going to take quite a while, and then when I find something, I will of course start filming again. Right, okay, I've actually fixed it. Now I'll show you what I did. Sorry I didn't film the whole of the processes because it's quite late here in the UK and everybody's gone to bed. Yeah, basically, do you remember I was tracing it down to that pin, the third one from the top? Well, yes, I fixed the connection on number 1, but number 3 was also dodgy. So first of all, let me show you it working, then I'll show you on the board, show you what I've done. So now if you have a look here, just hold this up to here, we're looking at these buttons here. So watch this now, if I hit the blue one here, I'm going to keep hitting it. Can you see now? It keeps changing. Yeah, and now the yellow one, the green one, and the red one. But the blue is definitely working now. I just want to try it with this dodgy third-party membrane, see if this is going to work. Right, let's have a look now. Yellow, yes, blue. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? How weird was that at the beginning then, when that wasn't working? Yeah, green and red. No, the blue's not doing it now, hold on. Oh yes it is, yeah, you just have to have it lined up perfectly. Really confusing one, because at the beginning, do you remember with this one here, it was working on these two, but on this one it wasn't. That's so strange. Right, let me show you what the fault was anyway, and then I can put it back together and do the final check. So basically, if you have a look here, do you remember I traced this one down to the third pin? Remember I said it went through here and then it went to the third pin? Well, when I looked very closely at this third pin, it did look intact, but then when I started to scrape at it, basically there was a break just as it hit the wire. So if you have a look here, now excuse the blob of solder on top, that was just purely when I was scraping it away. When I was trying to put solder on the wire, a lot went onto this big ground plane up here. But if you have a look now, can you see I just had to put a little jumper wire between here and the wire. So let me zoom right in to show you. Okay, so here we are now. It's a complete mess because of the solder above it, but it makes no difference because it's just on this bit here. Also, I haven't properly cleaned it up yet. So you remember, you've seen me do this one between here and here. Well, this one was just broken just as it goes there. So if you have a look, it was exactly the same as the one next to it, just a short little one like that. But I noticed that it looked a little bit bad just across here, and so obviously it wasn't making with the wire there. So I just had to scrape it back using the fiberglass pen. That's why it's gone back to copper. And then I just had to put a tiny little wire between here. Just trying to see if it's gone down there a bit. Don't know if that's the reflections or whether that's the wire. Yeah, I think that might be the wire actually. Right, okay, well it's not touching the other one anyway. So I had to do it between here and here, and it's only just barely gripped with a little bit of solder there, but it's definitely in place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some solder mask, and I'm basically going to cover all this area in it, and that will stop it from oxidizing over the years, and as well as that, hopefully it might give it just a little bit more strength to keep in its place. So I think what happened was, maybe when this was put on, it was kind of, or I'm wondering maybe if the controller had a drop, would it have put a little bit of force on this here to knock it over to one side? In which case then a few of these, so this one here broke and this one here broke, and because of that the buttons weren't working properly, but all the others do appear to be okay. There you go, that's just dirt there. Yeah, but all the others are definitely on okay, but when I wobbled this one here, I could physically see it moving, and that's what gave it away. Right, so let me put some solder mask on this, and then close it up, and hopefully it will be working. Now I don't know still if this one here is going to work, but you know what? I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on, where's it gone, this connector here. Now that I've connected it up, it might well work. I can't see how that's got anything to do with this, but what I might do is I might just give this a little clean while I'm here, just in case it is a dirty contact. But I don't really want to spend hours upon hours fault finding that, because I don't really think many people use those battery connectors. If it works on USB and works via batteries, then really it's a working controller near enough. Right, let's get some UV mask on this. Well, so I'm just going to be shining the UV light on it now. This is going to take quite some time to go off. so I'll come back to this when it's done. Okay, so it's all gone hard. I've just tried it again to make sure it's working. So it's safe to put back together now. So if you have a look there, you can see there that the UV mask is covering up, so hopefully now that won't oxidize in the future. So what I want to do is one of these wires has come out on the rumble motor somewhere. Yeah, this one here. So I just need to do a little bit more soldering there, and then I need to put it back together. Now I think what I'm going to do is this, let's call it a third-party membrane, is actually working. It's just that, do you remember I said that the click of the buttons didn't feel very nice? So I think I'm not going to install this one. I'm going to install a proper Xbox one. At least then the buttons should feel better when you're pressing them, even though I've tried it with this one and it is definitely working. Yeah, so that's it. All I need to do now is solder it up and put this back together. This one was missing a few screws, so I'm just going to put them back in to give it extra strength. Almost forgot about the headphone jack. Okay, so it's all back together. I've just had a quick test and it's all testing okay. So let me turn some lights off to try to make it easier to see. Right, now, if you have a look at this here. Right, here we go. So now, red button, you can see it's changing. Green button's changing. Blue button, that was the one we had problems with. You can see now it's changing colour. And orange is yellow is changing up top as well. Hard to see that yellow one. There you go. Really hard to see. Blue, green, red, and everything else is working. So they're the bumpers. Triggers go all the way to 100%. Triggers here go to 100%. Analog sticks 100, 100, 100, 100. Right 100, 100, 100, and 100. And D-pad. That works. Clicking on the right, clicking on the left. And Xbox button will, in about a minute, bring up the game bar there. So what a nice little fix. So what I'm going to do is, there you go, that's it there. I'm going to quickly connect it up to the main Xbox just to see if it's working, and out of curiosity I'm going to put in the little battery pack, see if that's working or not. There we go, guess what? I've got the battery pack in and it's working. Look, we've got power now. So no power, plug it in. So I think maybe that might have been to do with the first connection. If you have a look now, you can see that that's working. And now the buttons are working as well. Fantastic, and just try it with some normal batteries. And I've also got a replacement cover for the back as well. There we go. Happy days. I'm just going to quickly check the buttons up on here. Right, okay, so here we go. You can see now that it's recognising all the inputs. And let's just go back and check the vibration. Go down to buzz. What a result! So another Xbox controller brought back from the dead. Really enjoyed that one there. Really strange how that original third-party membrane didn't really work very well with these two buttons, but they are working now. So not too sure, maybe I just didn't have it aligned properly, but I've put the proper ones in it now, and now these feel. It's amazing how something so small can make a difference, but now these buttons feel like they should feel. So another perfectly good working Xbox controller. Just going to quickly check the headphone jack. Right, okay, yeah, the headphones are working. So if you watch this now, you can see at the moment they're not plugged in, but when I plug them in here, you will see after about 5 seconds or so, it will recognise that a headset's been plugged in. There you go, all audio is optimised for headsets right now. So there you go, everything appears to be working fine on it. So yeah, big thanks to Mike from One Up Gaming for sending this over to me along with the other stuff. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos. Take care, bye now.